And today we are privileged to be able to confer such a degree upon a pioneer of children's television programming and child development, who seems to many as if he has been a member of our family forever. And 3 generations of Americans need no introduction to our special guest. As the creator and host of the PBS television program, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Fred McFeely Rogers has been visiting with children and their parents for more than 30 years. He is a producer, magician, writer, musician, puppeteer, minister, husband, and father, who trailblazed the creation of television programming that speaks with respect to the concerns of early childhood, not as adults see it, but as children feel it. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood is the longest running program on public television. The program reaches almost 8 million households and child care settings each week. Mr. Rogers was born in Latrobe, Pennsylvania, and graduated from Rollins College in Florida in 1951 with a degree in music composition. He worked for NBC in New York for several years before returning to Pittsburgh in 1953 at the request of WQED, the nation's first community-supported public television station. One of the programs he developed for the station was the Children's Corner, a live hour-long visit with puppets and host Josie Carey. In 1955, the series won the Sylvania Award for the best locally produced children's program in the country. And several regulars on today's Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood began their lives on the Children's Corner, including the puppets Daniel Striped Tiger and King Friday the 13th. And also during this time, Mr. Rogers began to study child development and to attend Pittsburgh Theological Seminary. He was ordained by the Pittsburgh Presbytery in 1962 with a charge to continue his work with children and families through the media. In 1963, Mr. Rogers created a 15-minute children's series called Mr. Rogers for the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation in Toronto. The following year, he returned to Pittsburgh, where he incorporated the 15-minute segment into a half-hour format. The programs were distributed by the Eastern Educational Network during 1966 and 1967. And in 1968, the series was made available to the affiliates of the Public Broadcasting Service. The same year, he was appointed chairman of the Forum on Mass Media and Child Development of the White House Conference on Children and Youth. He is chairman of the board of Family Communications, the nonprofit corporation he founded in 1971 to produce a variety of materials that encourage the healthy emotional growth of children and their families. There are nearly 700 episodes of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and he continues to write and produce several weeks of new programs each season. Mr. Rogers has received virtually every major award in television, as well as any other in education, communications, and early childhood. Named Pittsburgher of the Year in January, he received 2 George Foster Peabody Awards, as well as a Lifetime Achievement Awards from the Emmys and the TV Critics Association. During the past year, TV Guide named him one of television's 50 all-time most important persons. Mr. Rogers and his wife, Joanne, are the parents of 2 sons and have 2 grandsons. Mr. Rogers' emphasis on family and human relationships is consonant with our sense of the university as a community of learners, and our concept of the Edinboro family. His focus on self-affirmation and child development mirrors values that we as a community hold dear. We are pleased and delighted that Fred McFeely Rogers is visiting our neighborhood today, and I am honored to read the citation for Mr. Rogers' award. In recognition of your pioneering efforts to create television programming that addresses the concerns of early childhood through the eyes of children themselves, for your focus on family and human relationships which nourish the healthy emotional growth of children, for your contributions over more than 40 years to the theory and practice of child development, which have had a positive and profound effects on 3 generations of American children and their parents, for your legacy of self-affirmation and individual worth, and for the hundreds of visits you have made to our neighborhoods. The President and Council of Trustees of Edinboro University of Pennsylvania hereby confer upon Fred McFeely Rogers the degree of Doctor of Public Service, and testimony thereof, the seal of the university and signatures as authorized by the Council of Trustees are hereto affixed. President of the University, Frank G. Pogue, Chairperson, Council of Trustees, R. Benjamin Wiley, given in Edinboro, Pennsylvania on the 9th of May, 1998. I would like to present to you this framed copy of the citation which I read a few moments ago as something to remember all of us by. Now, earlier in the program, Provost Weber introduced our friends from Clark Elementary School and the Miller School. Now I would ask their teachers to escort them to the front of the gym, right down here in front of the stage. You can't all see them, but they really look great. Now, printed on page 24 of your program, you will find words to the theme song of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Now, won't you be my neighbor? Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, won't you be my neighbor? Our friends here in the front of the room are going to lead us all in singing Mr. Rogers' theme. And we'll give you a minute to find the words and get ready. Are you ready? Maestro, whenever you're ready.
To
Well, that was wonderful. Thank you, students from Clark and Miller School, and I am pleased to present the neighborhood trolley to Ms. Chris Hargest and Dr. Marion Beckman as a token of our appreciation for your being here today. Please return to your seats for Mr. Rogers' visit to our neighborhood. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rogers.
Wow, thank you. Wow. That was wonderful to hear the children sing. Wonderful to hear you all sing and you all play. Thank you for this warm welcome. It is a beautiful day in this neighborhood. A beautiful day. But before I begin, I'd like you to know that I recognize that you in Edinboro have had many days, particularly during this last month, many days that were far from beautiful. You've had an extremely painful time, and you've handled it with enormous dignity. I just want you to know that I admire you. I feel that John Gillette's spirit inspires you. The whole country applauds you. And it's a great privilege for me to be with you. I once asked a 12-year-old friend of mine what she thought I should say to graduating seniors in college. Incidentally, I met this friend several years before at Johns Hopkins Hospital, just after she had had very complicated brain surgery. She had to have one whole hemisphere of her brain removed. Obviously, she's had a lot to deal with in her young life already. But here's what she suggested that I say to graduating seniors. Hi, my name is Fred Rogers, and I am here to tell you to do little favors for people, then they will like you and feel better about the world, and then they will do little favors for other people. There was a day when that girl's parents wondered if she'd ever be able to speak again. Her doctor, Ben Carson, was always optimistic. As you can imagine, we're very proud of her. In fact, she herself is forever doing favors for others. I guess with the idea that they'll do favors for others themselves. If you saw our neighborhood on television when you were very young, you may have heard me say, "I'm proud of you." Well, you can be sure of that again today. I'm proud of what has brought you to this special moment in your life. The choices that you have made that has allowed your commencement to be. I'm very much interested in choices, and what it is and who it is that enable us human beings to make these choices all through our lives. What choices lead to ethnic cleansing? What choices lead to healing? What choices lead to the destruction of the environment or teenagers shooting teachers? What choices allow heroism in the midst of chaos? I have a lot of framed things in my office which people have presented to me through the years. And this will be added to them, Dr. Pogue, what you've just given me. Thank you. Many of them are in different languages. On my walls are Greek and Hebrew and Russian and Chinese. And beside my chair is a little one in French. It's a sentence from Saint-Exupéry's Little Prince, which says, "L'essentiel est invisible pour les yeux." What is essential is invisible to the eye. The closer we get to knowing the truth of that sentence, the closer I feel we get to wisdom. What is essential about you that is invisible to the eye? And who are those who have helped you become who you are? My hunch is that anyone who has ever graduated from a college or a university, anyone who has ever been able to sustain a good work, has had at least one person, and often many, who have believed in him or her. We just don't get to be competent human beings without the investment of a lot of others. I'd like to give you all an invisible gift today, a gift of a silent minute to think about any people you know who have been an important part of your life. Some of them may be here right now. Some may be far away. Some may even be in heaven. Wherever they are, if they've loved you and encouraged you and wanted what was best for you in life, they're right inside yourself. And I just feel that you deserve quiet time on this very special occasion to devote some thought to them. So let's just take a minute of silence and think about the people who have cared about us all along the way. 1 minute. Whomever you've been thinking about, just imagine how grateful they must be that you remember them when you think of your own becoming. One of the last major pieces of legislation which my friend John Hines offered to the United States Senate before he died was known as the War Orphans Bill. It was an effort to prevent the Pentagon from stationing both husband and wife in a war zone when they had children at home. Senator Hines didn't want us to take any chances that a young child would lose both his father and mother. He was thinking of children first. His bill was almost unanimously defeated. What does that say about some of the choices of some of our senators? Well, you young people will be the senators and the newspaper writers and the television producers and the teachers and lawyers and the mothers and fathers of the next generation. You'll have the opportunity to participate fully in this world of ours. You'll be the ones who will make the choices. You'll make the difference. I trust that as time goes on, you'll be aware deep inside yourself of the kind of difference you have been able to make. Of course, we don't always succeed in what we try, certainly not by the world's standards, but I think you'll find it's the willingness to keep trying that really matters most. It's not the honors and the prizes and the fancy outsides of life which ultimately nourish our souls. It's the knowing that we can be trusted, that we never have to fear the truth, that the bedrock of our very being is good stuff. That's what makes anybody and anything truly memorable. There's a neighborhood song that I often sing, which is meant for the child in each of us. I'd like to give you the words of that song today. It's you I like. It's not the things you wear. It's not the way you do your hair, but it's you I like. The way you are right now, the way down deep inside you. Not the things that hide you, not your diplomas, they'll be right beside you. But it's you I like, every part of you, your skin, your eyes, your feelings, whether old or new. I hope that you remember, even when you're feeling blue, that it's you I like. It's you yourself, it's you. It's you I like. What that ultimately means, of course, is that you don't ever have to do anything sensational for people to love you. In fact, the outside things of life, the things that television and newspapers talk about most, are not really the important things. It's the inside of all of us that makes us who we really are. When I say it's you I like, I'm talking about that part of you that helps you to wonder and dream and feel for others. That's the part of you that will make the biggest difference in this world. May you and your friends and your families be blessed with lives filled with opportunities to make the kind of choices that will help others. Little favors, big favors, opportunities for you to become the best of whoever you are and whoever your neighbor may be. It's such a good feeling to know you're alive. Congratulations.
And as one final gift from Edinboro University. Thank you very much.